clouds near Morocco was the peaceful cloud kingdom of Nar. Phobia was the daughter of the king and queen of Nar. The Nar princess loved to roam the clouds and find cloud flowers. One day, while she was out looking for cloud flowers, she heard a loud thunder and ran home to the castle to tell her mother, the kind, gentle queen of Nar, what she heard. After all, it was a beautiful day, and usually there were never any thunderclouds in Nar at all. After hearing Phobia tell her frantic story about the frightening thunder, Sophia laughed and hugged her daughter. "Those are only phantom thunderclaps. A long time ago, a sorcerer wanted us all to leave our beautiful kingdom so he could have it all for himself. We told him he was welcome to stay with us as long as he wanted, as long as he quit practicing black magic, but he wanted it all for himself. He learned that the one danger up in the clouds was lightning. And real thunder is actually not dangerous, but real thunder is almost always accompanied by lightning, which is dangerous. But what you heard was just a harmless cloud frog's ribbon. As you know, cloud frogs are completely harmless." Still afraid, Phobia asked, "Well, if they sound the same, how can you know if what you're hearing is a harmless cloud frog or a really dangerous thunder? It just feels just as scary." "Well, that's easy. I'll just teach you the signs. It is true that they sound similar, but once you know the secret signs, you can easily tell the difference between real thunder, which is extremely rare, and a harmless cloud frog, which is harmless. First of all, when it is bright and sunny outside, the clouds are white, and you hear thunder, that is almost always going to, if you hear thunder, that is almost always going to be a cloud frog. Thunderclouds are dark, almost black. Second of all, if you hear, quote, thunder, but it happens in a rhythm of like 4 or 5 waves, like heartbeats, that's a cloud frog. Cloud frogs ribbit in rhythms, like ribbit, 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 ribbit. Real thunder rumbles, but it doesn't have a regular rhythm like a cloud frog does. And last of all, if you think you might hear thunder, but it's not so loud that you could not hear a cloud bee buzzing 5 feet away, then that's a cloud frog. Real thunder is extremely loud. You've never heard real thunder, but you would never mistake it for a cloud frog. That's for sure. It's so terribly loud, you could never hear a cloud bee 5 feet away when it thundered." The next day, Phobia set out to find cloud flowers for her room. After looking all morning, she found 3 beautiful specimens, but she was really looking for a rare kind of cloud flower with light blue stripes. Phobia wandered very far on the east side of Nar, near where she heard a very ominous thunderclap. She became extremely frightened. She remembered how scary the thunder was the first time she heard it. She felt like running. She was about to panic. She just wanted to get out of there. She quickly thought, "I'm 20 minutes away from the safety of the castle. If I run now, maybe I can make it back before the lightning gets here. Maybe I can make it. I just don't want to get electrocuted and killed by terrible lightning. But what if I die so far away from home? I should have never been so foolish to wander this far." Then she remembered the signs her mother taught her. Thunder came from dark clouds. She was standing on a cloud. It was almost perfectly white. Thunder rumbled, and cloud frog ribbits were in waves. These thunders were in waves. But Phobia was just too scared. She ran back. She finally got to the castle. She was panting from having run the whole way. "Where are you running from? Cloud monsters?" her mom asked, but laughed and went into the kitchen, not waiting to hear the answer. She said over her shoulder, "Go wash your hands, Phobia. Dinner will be almost ready and we have guests tonight, so be on your best behavior, young lady." When Phobia got to dinner, she squealed, happy to see her favorite uncle, the Duke of Nar. "Well, young lady, tell me a story about all your adventures," he said as he winked at his brother, the king. "Oh, uncle, I went way off to the very east side of the kingdom today looking for a blue striper cloud flower, and I heard thunder. Well, I think it was thunder, but you know, it was just so scary, and the clouds, well, they were just white, and the thunder was in rhythms, and I could still hear a cloud bee like Mom said, but I was just so scared, man. I just ran. Man, I got out of there so fast. I was so scared. My heart was beating like crazy. The signs were there, but I just felt so scared. You should have seen me. I just felt scared. I got new cloud shoes from my dad, and when I got back here, it was so fast. Mom told me to wash my hands because we'd have guests, and then you're here and we have spicy sausages, my favorite. Phobia had been telling her story animatedly, looking all around, not paying attention. When she looked up after taking a big bite of sausage, her mom had put her fork down and her dad was obviously upset. He was resting his elbows on the table, holding his knife and fork with an uneaten sausage already on it. The Duke looked at the king with a knowing smile before he replied, "So you must have been really scared because your heart was beating, right?" Phobia was relieved. Yeah, she grinned a big grin at her uncle. He always understood. "Well, how do you feel now?" "Are you kidding? Great. Look at this sausage. No, hold on. This one. See how big and juicy it is? I'm going to eat it all." The king raised his eyebrows at Sophia and the brother, the Duke. "What? Why are y'all looking so upset with me?" The Duke nodded to the king as if to say, "It's okay." The Duke was carrying a satchel and reached inside. He leaned over at Phobia's eye level and whispered, "Do you want a surprise?" as he rummaged in his satchel. "Well, yeah," Phobia said as she chewed on her sausage and swung her legs back and forth. She looked over at her mom and nodded yes 3 times in excitement. The queen rolled her eyes and then gave Duke a harmless but disapproving look. The Duke pulled out a soft, light brown disc about the size of his palm. It looked natural, but it was also an almost perfect circle. "Do you know what this is?" "Brother," the king said sternly. "It's okay, trust me." "Do you know what this is?" the uncle repeated. Yeah," Phobia said quickly, and she curled her lips to hide them because she really wasn't sure. "Okay, you tell me, you can have it." "Arxis," said the queen, but he held up his hand. "It looks like the top of a mushroom without the stem, like a cap." The queen slouched in her chair, looking a little defeated. "Oh, no. This is a cookie. Do you want it?" The queen's eyes immediately got big. "Mom and Dad are worried about me spoiling my dinner. That's why they're upset," thought Phobia. "Well, only if Mom says it's okay. Please, please, please. I almost never get cookies." Before she could reply, the uncle asked, "How do you feel right now?" "What do you mean?" "Can I have the cookie?" "Mom, will you let me have the cookie?" The uncle persisted. "You tell me what you're feeling, young lady. Is your heart beating fast? Do you feel safe? Are you scared? Are you happy? Are you angry? Tell me your emotions right now, this very second." "Well then, can I have the cookie?" "First tell me your emotions." "I feel happy, and I love my mom and my dad and my favorite uncle." The Duke leaned in very close so his face was right next to Phobia's, and he said in a whisper very inquisitively, "Do you feel safe? Do you think we're in danger?" The Duke looked right into Phobia's eyes. Phobia stopped chewing and let her mouth hang open as she stared back at her uncle, a little mesmerized by a strange question. She looked around the room. Everything seemed safe. She looked at her mom. Her mom raised her eyebrows and said, "Do you?" She looked at her dad. He smiled. She looked past her dad and saw the waitstaff. Everything was fine. She laughed and placed her little hands on one of her uncle's cheeks. "Silly, there's nothing here." "What about this?" He held up the cookie. "Can I have it? Do you feel safe?" "Mm-hmm." Phobia nodded as she continued to chew. "Well, you may not have it ever." Very quickly, the Duke put a disc back in his satchel and took a bite out of the sausage. "Oh, man." "Well, what you thought originally was right. It was a mushroom cap, but not just any. That's the mushroom cap used to make mortonnine." "Mortonnine?" "That's right. Your father asked me to pick some up on the way over because he had seen some rats eating the horses' hay in the stable. When you first thought this was a mushroom, would you have eaten it? No way. That's what we learned in school, never eat mushrooms. But you felt safe around a very dangerous thing, just like you felt scared around a perfectly harmless cloud frog. That doesn't make much sense. And if you run every time you hear a cloud frog, or something that scares you, you can't grow up to be a good and wise queen because you'll be letting all those wrong-headed emotions get the best of you. You must learn to trust the wisdom you have been taught. Just because you feel there is danger or safety does not mean it is true. You must act with your head and love with your heart, young lady." Phobia realized that it was not very smart to run every time she heard a cloud frog because then she could not really be in control of her actions. She vowed from then on to trust the signs if she heard thunder. Clouds were dark and gray, and the thunder was terribly loud. She would go and seek shelter. If the clouds were white, and there was no danger present, she would laugh and continue doing what she had herself set out to do. She would no longer let her fears control her, especially knowing that her feelings couldn't always be relied on as a smart guide. The end. So just like there are signs to be able to tell the difference between a cloud frog, there are clear signs to be able to tell the difference if you think, say, you're having a heart attack or maybe a panic attack. If you think you're about to faint, or if you think that you're about to go crazy, or you think you're having problems swallowing. I call them disputation facts because they're clear, factual signs that you can use to dispute scary emotions that you feel because you think you might be having, for example, a heart attack. And watch your inbox because I'm going to send you those disputation facts. So thank you for signing up. If you haven't signed up, maybe if you had this video forwarded to you, just go to panicattackfree.org, sign up. You'll get a link to this video, but you'll also get opted in to the different disputation facts that you can learn as signs. Thanks a lot.
Go, 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 shorty. It's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday.